Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is all about the luxury hacks that you need to know. I've been buying luxury goods for a few years now, and along the way I picked up a fair few tips and tricks, mostly around maintenance and how to keep your items looking pristine, but also around shopping and all kinds of things to do with luxury goods. So I thought I would compile them all and share them in this video. I hope you find this useful. You may also notice that I'm looking a bit different in some of the clips, and that's because a lot of these were actually filmed months ago. This video was supposed to go live months ago, but unfortunately the footage corrupted, and so I had to refilm segments of it, and I basically just got really busy in the meantime. I changed job, I got engaged, all kinds of stuff happened, so I only just got around to doing it, but hopefully the tips will be as useful as ever. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and let's get started. My first hack is to weatherproof your bags and your shoes. I own a lot of suede items, mostly boots, and I also live in London where it does rain a lot, so I use the Scotchgard spray to protect my items, and you don't have to use this particular brand. There are quite a few others that do the same thing. You can just do a search on Amazon and there are lots of bestsellers with really good reviews, and all you do is lightly spray all over the boot or whatever else it is that you want to protect. There shouldn't really be any discoloration. If it is, it's very minor and I can't notice it. And then after you leave it set, you'll be able to run your boot or other item under a tap and the water will literally just bounce off. It's really incredible. As you can see, it makes it completely waterproof, and if you do get a few droplets on there, you will literally be able to just brush them off and your boots will be as good as new. I now spray all of my suede items with this spray and it keeps them looking good all winter long. My next hack is for those of you with light coloured leather items that you're scared about getting colour transfer on. I had a few pairs of shoes that I really wanted to wear with denim, but I was way too scared to. I then found this product, which is the Colonel Carbon Pro, and it has been a total game changer for me. I've used them on both my Aquazuras, as you can see here, and also my Valentino rock studs. I just spray lightly all over. I would say to do this outside if you can, because it is quite a strong smelling spray. I just spray all over, and then I also take a white cloth and just wipe out the excess if I need to. Since then though, and this clip was done a couple of months ago, I've been wearing my Valentino rock studs non-stop and my Aquazuras as well, and I haven't had a single bit of colour transfer on them. You may be able to see that if you follow me on Instagram, but my Valentino rock studs look as good as new and they've been on constant repeat. If you want some extra protection against your denim, or if you have a very expensive item that you don't want to spray, then I would say you can also colour lock your denim. And there are a few home remedies that you can use to do this. However, the most effective that I found, and I tried out a few, is to use another spray. So you can either use the same spray that I used in the last clip, which is multi-purpose, so you can use it both on leather and on garments. I believe you can also use it on furniture if you want to as well. Or you can use a Scotchgard spray. This is different from the one I used earlier. This is specially designed for fabric. I found it works really well to colour lock denim in as well. And it's exactly the same principle, you just spray all over. I made sure to do this one outside because this one really does smell, and I had to use a lot of it because with denim there is quite a large surface. So I just did it all over, and I made sure to do the sides of my jeans especially because I knew that's where a lot of my bags would rub. And then I just leave them to air, and they should be as good as new, and they should protect against any colour transfer on your leather goods or other items. If you do get some colour transfer though, don't worry, all is not lost, you can fix it. I have my Tory Burch Perry-Tote here, which as you can see, it's seen some better days. It's been very well loved and used, and it not only has some colour transfer right at the bottom from my jeans, but it's also just a bit grimy and dirty and needs a good clean. So I'm using another product from Colonel. This is the Carbon Gold, and I'm just using it with a plain white cloth, and this is quite a slow process. It won't look like it is because I've sped up the footage, but you do have to go slow, and it's really important that you do that. It's also really important to always perform a patch test on any leather good just to see how it reacts before going in full force. If you do have colour transfer, you're going to need to work at it as well. Keep going over and over the area very gently. However, with a bit of time and patience, you should be able to get your bag looking like this, which I think looks pretty good. However, an important step which I think a lot of people miss is to condition the leather afterwards. So there are a few different products you can use for this. They all work really well, and I'll list the names down below. But you want to go over the area that you have wiped clean with the cleaning products, just to make sure that you're restoring that moisture and that conditioning effect. And then you can take your bag from looking quite grimy into looking like this, which I think looks as good as new. I was thrilled to bits, and the leather also retains that softness because I did do that extra step of conditioning. My next hack is to steam out the creases in your leather bags if you have them. I'm using my Gucci Soho here, and as you can see from the before and after, I had quite a few serious creases, and in the after they were really helped. So my first step in doing this is to make sure that you stuff the bag. I like to use my clothing for this, so I'll just get a fairly thin sweater and I'll pop it in the bag, and I'll make sure that I mold the bag to the shape that I want to be. So it's important that you get the material in the creases if you can. Step 2 is to get a tea cloth or a towel and place it over the item. You really want to make sure that it's pure white if you can, to avoid any colour transfer. I didn't have a pure white one, so I used a striped one, but it's always best to use a white one if you can. And then lightly go over the area with a steamer. It's really important to go slowly here and keep checking on the item as well. Not only should you be checking on the item, but you should also be moulding the leather to the shape you want. The heat from the steamer is going to make the leather softer, and that's how you're going to be able to mould it into the shape that you want. After you're done, make sure to keep the stuffing in for at least a couple of days to make sure that the shape stays in place. After that, you should have a bag with dramatically reduced creasing. I did also try this with my Chanel Mini. My Chanel Mini did have a few creases, but they weren't anywhere near as bad as my Gucci Soho, but I did want to try it on a more delicate leather to see if it worked. You can use a proper iron with a steam function if you have it. However, I would say they tend to be a lot harsher, and with something as delicate as lambskin, I would always say to use a steamer if you can. I just think they're a lot more gentle. So for this bag, I didn't want to risk using my striped tea towel, so I just actually used a face flannel, which I knew was pure white. It's a little bit thicker as well, which I wanted to use because it was lambskin. I just did the exact same thing over and over again, except this time I buffed it out as well. So buffing out lambskin is a really good way of preserving it, and because the leather is so delicate, you really want to go slow here. So I went very slowly. I just did it bit by bit. You never want the heat to damage the leather, so it's always best to do it on a low heat if that's an option as well. But I was pretty pleased with the results. They weren't miraculous, but it certainly helped improve it. My next hack is to rainproof your bags. As I mentioned, I do live in London where it does rain quite a bit, and I'm also not a huge fan of taking umbrellas with me all the time, so I do get stuck in downpours more than I should, and so it's always very important to me that I protect my bags. Some bags nowadays come with very cool anoraks like my Fendi Peekaboo, which I absolutely love. However, not all bags do, so for those that don't, I found a nifty little way to protect my bags from the rain. So inside my Chanel Jumbo, which is one of my favourite bags, I've had it for a very long time, I just pop in a little grocery bag, and this is useful because I also like to use it for groceries. However, I can also use it if I do get stuck in a downpour. It's large enough that I can fit my Jumbo inside, and whilst it's not quite as chic as my Chanel Jumbo, it does protect it from the rain. I've seen a few different variations of this, so you can also use a Longchamp Le Plage or any other bag that is foldable and fits within your shoulder bag or whatever other bag you're carrying, but can also expand out. And then when you're done, then you can just fold it back up and pop it back in. However, I would always say to make sure it's dry before putting it back into your bag. My next hack is about maximising space using the nesting doll method. I like to keep all the packaging I can. For starters, it's absolutely beautiful, I think, but it's also a good idea just in case you ever do want to sell the item in the future to have the original packaging. So what I like to do is I like to nest the boxes within each other, and you have to find the right sizes for this. But for example, here I have a Chanel bag box, and inside I have a Valentino shoebox, a Stuart Weitzman shoebox, and also several jewellery boxes as well. It really does help if you're short on space just to pop them inside each other. It does take a bit of playing around, but it's a very good way of maximising your space, and no one is ever the wiser. I also like to do this with dust bags as well, so I like to keep all of my dust bags in just a few boxes. For starters, this does keep things neat, but it also enables me to find the dust bags easily if I need to. Once they're in boxes, I like to hide them away in my closet, and I do get a lot of questions about this. My closet system is from IKEA, and instead of going for a narrow shelving unit, I went for the full-length closet system, and so from the front it looks completely normal. However, if you look to the side, I have hidden all my boxes in there, and this has been such a great space saver for me. I can keep all my boxes and no one is ever the wiser if you look from the front. My 8th hack is to always reuse packaging if you can. I have a lot of tote bags, I love the style, however they do get very floppy and it is a bit of a challenge to keep the shape when they're not in use. I also do a lot of shopping, and with that shopping generally comes a lot of packaging, whether that is air bubbles or bubble wrap, tissue paper, there just seems to be a ton of it. So a really good way of reusing the packaging is to actually store it within your tote bags. Not only is this a good use of material, but it also keeps your tote bags really nice and structured so that you don't lose their shape when they're not in use. And you can literally use anything, you can use a variety of things, you can just use one thing. It's a really nifty way though, and I've been doing it a lot, and it's such a good way of keeping your bags in shape without investing in fancy bag shapers. If you don't have a lot of packaging to use, or if you're not a fan of putting bubble wrap or tissue paper within your more expensive bags, it can be a little bit scratchy. One of my favourite things to do is to put clothing within my bag. So I use this tip specifically for my Chanel flaps, and I like to just roll up cotton t-shirts and tank tops and put them inside. You do have to be careful, so I always try and use colours which are more similar to the colour of the bag. But it's really easy to roll them up, and because they're so soft, they're not going to damage the interior either. It's a great way to save space and also to pad out your bags. And my very last hack is to protect your designer heels using little maintenance tips and tricks. So the first thing I like to do is just to be wary of the surface that I'm going to walk on. I always try and avoid cobbles and decking, partly because I don't want to fall over, and partly because it really helps to protect the stiletto heel. Then after I'm done wearing them, I always try and take the time to just wipe over them. You can do this with a wet wipe, however I prefer just to do it with a clean cloth. You can use a bit of soap, but I generally just use some warm water. I'll just go over the patent leather or the leather if necessary. You can obviously do this with all kinds of shoes. I have my Gianvito Rossi Plexi pumps here, and I just like to wipe them down as well to keep them looking as fresh as possible. And then you just pop them in and they're ready to go for the next time that you want to take them out. So that's it for this hacks video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any little tips and tricks of your own, then leave them for me in the comment section. And if you have any questions, then let me know and I will try and get back to you. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I would love to have you here. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.